All right, everyone. Welcome to the Yes Vember Kickoff Party. My name is Sandy Sidhu, and with me I have my partner in crime, Jules Taggart. So we're going to kick off just by briefly starting off and just telling you a little bit about Yes Vember and why we decided to launch this last year for the first time. So basically, Yes Vember, November essentially is that time of year when we start thinking about 2015 and you're getting the Christmas vibe, the Thanksgiving vibe. I just went to Starbucks yesterday. They've got the Christmas thing going in full force. So you've got all these distractions on the brain and you're kind of like, maybe I'll just wait and put off that last thing that I wanted to do until next year. And we launched YesVember to kind of put a stop to that because there's still at least now a little bit less than 60 days left in the year to kind of just take action, put your head down, do the work, and launch that podcast, write that ebook, whatever it is that you've had on your list for way too long. Now's the time to do it and give yourself that head start on 2015. Like, we're not saying don't plan for next year, but what we're saying is don't give up and write off 2014 just yet.
Yeah, so 2 months of the year is a long time to kind of give up. And I know in years past, November is that slippery slope for me where if I don't have something that I'm actually working on, if I'm just kind of floating out with a bunch of random projects, it's very easy to slide right into Thanksgiving and then from there slide right into the end of the year holidays. So Sandy and I sort of selfishly launched YesVember because we too need to get some stuff done between now and the end of the year. So for me, December is always kind of a hibernation month. I do a lot of planning, a lot of looking at the year that just passed, and a lot of planning for the year ahead. So November is really my last month of the year to get things done, and I know a lot of you guys are the same way. So we're really excited that those of you who have already signed up for YesVember have signed up. If you're not signed up yet, you can head over to thrivehivelive.com/yes. And it's free. It's a 21-day challenge. It goes from now through the 21st of November. And we've got tons of stuff going on. So each each week throughout the challenge, you'll get an email from us that helps you take your project a little bit farther along into the stages of completion. And then towards the end of the challenge on the 21st, we're going to have a wrap-up party, and we'll be giving away prizes, including membership to our Thrive Hive group, which, Sandy, do you want to kind of talk a little bit about Thrive Hive and what that's all about?
Sure. We actually forgot to mention that in the beginning, like how you and I actually met and got this all started. So just a little quick recap. It's not totally random that Jules and I are here doing this YesVember thing together. We actually connected via Mastermind, I think more than 2 years ago. And from there, we kind of saw that, accountability really worked well for us and that we needed that in our business to be surrounded with like-minded people, other entrepreneurs who get it and had similar goals, but we weren't finding that in the communities that we were part of. Either a lot of the communities were just very drive-by, link dropping, self-promotional, and a lot of lurking. So because there was no skin in the game, no reason to, no, they weren't paid communities necessarily. You had a lot of people joining, but not a lot of people active. So since we were kind of in the similar place in our business, we decided to combine forces and launch an online community for women entrepreneurs. So Thrive Hive was born. It's actually almost 2 years old, and it's kind of spawned into many things. Like, we do monthly Google Hangouts. We just wrapped up our third in-person mastermind retreat in San Diego. So we've just seen the benefit of being part of a community of people who have similar goals, who want to help each other, who want to test out ideas, bounce off ideas, and who are solopreneurs but still benefit from having access to team members, let's say.
Yep, absolutely. And one thing, the way that we started Thrive Hive is very similar to YesVember. It was about this time of year. We had a little bit of time before the new year started to get something off the ground, but we knew it was going to have to come together quickly. So it wasn't perfect when we launched it. Still isn't perfect. It's always a work in progress, right? But for that first launch, it was quick and dirty. It was whatever we could put together in the time that we had. And what we had was the month of November. And so we basically put it together in less than a month, got it launched, and then kind of got feedback from the community on how we could make it better. So we're really hoping to help you guys do that too with your focus project in the month of November, no matter what that is. It could be a community, It could be a blog you want to start. It could be a total website revamp, although that might be kind of a big project for just 1 month. It could be, what else could it be, Sandy? I'm trying to think of examples.
So you said ebook, podcast. I know some people have already talked about getting their newsletter launched. I think I might just have repeated you. Different people have some. I saw somebody, I think it was Lorna, she's launching sort of like a very specific niche, like an audio coaching for equestrians. I can't even say that properly, but basically horse riders. I think that's the layman's way of saying it. So it's whatever you want to work on in your business that it's been like this lingering thing in the back of your mind. I think Jules laid it out really well with the example of Thrive Hive, because when we did it, it was, like she said, it was around the end of the year. We knew we wanted to get it out the door before January, but we didn't want to spend months in our, launch caves working on something without actually getting feedback from people and seeing if there was a real need. So we went with what was, what's known as sort of a minimal viable product. We looked at what we already had. We looked at what was missing in our communities. We listed that out. So similar to the worksheet that you would have gotten in your email today, where you kind of list the top 5 things that were on your launch list. So in this case, that was like the big thing that we wanted to do, and then kind of list all the things that need to get done and evaluate what is sort of a nice to have, what can wait. And if you're not sure, reach out to the community. That's what we're there for, because sometimes what you think is super important isn't going to be necessarily important to your target audience. I mean, with Thrive Hive as an example, we'd initially talked about doing a membership site and having something separate, and then we're like, you know what? People spend so much time on Facebook. We looked at the courses we were in, and we never logged into the forum. You just wanted to be part of the Facebook group and ask questions and answer things there. So that's what we did. We kept it super lightweight, and 2 years later, we haven't outgrown that model yet, but we were always open to kind of seeing what worked and what our community wanted from us. So use this YesVember month to kind of lay the foundation, lay the groundwork for that project, but also kind of get feedback from the rest of the community and say, hey, you know what, do you think I should do this? Do you think it can wait? Because it's too easy to kind of come up with these ideas, start halfway, and never really make it to the finish line.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that's where it comes to choosing the right project for this month. So, I mentioned something earlier about revamping website. That's too big for YesVember. It really needs to be a project that's, that you can really tackle in just a few weeks. So if you have signed up for YesVember at thrivehivelive.com/yes, you will have received an email that kind of walks you through the process of how to choose a focus project. And if you haven't signed up yet, just head over to thrivehivelive.com/yes and sign up. It's free. You just enter your email address, and then you'll get the first email that kind of shows you how to choose that focus project. But Sandy, let's run through just how to do that for someone if they're, trying to figure out what project to choose among, the 15 things left on your to-do list for this year.
Sure. So if you have the worksheet in front of you, or if you don't, it's pretty simple. You can start this even right now. So start by listing the top 5 things that were on your launch list, so that you've been thinking about, you've been dreaming about, you've been humming and hawing about, but you just haven't quite committed to doing them. So list out those 5 things. Now, of those 5 projects that you've identified, choose 2 that you could do easily. So like Jules mentioned, website revamp, probably not the most realistic to do in 21 days unless that's all you're going to do day and night. Now we know that your YesVember focus project isn't something you're going to be doing like nonstop from here till like, Thanksgiving, but you want to dedicate some portion of your day to it. So what can you realistically do within that scope, within those parameters? And that's not going to necessarily cost you a lot of money and have this huge time delay. So of those 5, now narrow it down to 2. So in Jules's case, maybe website revamp isn't like the whole thing she could do. Maybe it's like, revamp my services. Like I know in my case, that's something that I'm actually planning on working on in YesVember. Like I already did my website revamp early in the year, but now I'm at the point where I want to kind of tweak my service offering. So that's a realistic sort of subset of website revamp that I could tackle in the next 3 weeks and actually feel accomplished at the end of it. So once you've narrowed down to 2 of those choices, it's time to narrow down to the top choice, like what you're actually going to commit to in the group and get support with. So look at those 2 awesome options that are low-hanging fruit that you know you could get done with some help and support and accountability. Given that November is a hard time to stay motivated, depending on where you live, some of us in the East Coast, it's gotten cold and dark. It helps to pick something that you're excited about, that you're going to be jazzed about working on at 4 p.m. in the afternoon when it's like pitch black outside. So really factor those things in, because again, we want this not to just be like, oh great, I have to go work on my ebook, but like, yes, I'm going to launch my podcast. I know for me, that's what I did last year. I've got my podcast out the door. Stacey Harris, if she's listening, she's actually celebrating her podcast anniversary today. So she didn't necessarily launch it during YesVember, but like YesVember was like when I know she was doing some of like the post-launch activity. So, and Jules, last year you were working on Copy Ninja. So a lot of these things, it's cool to see a year later, like she's got the course on her website for sale. I still have my podcast. Stacey still has her podcast. Alea Williams, who's also in YesVember, she was toying with the idea of doing a podcast, but she was thinking of waiting, and lo and behold, the girl has 2 podcasts now. So it's just cool to have that. Exactly. So it's cool to have that sort of measure and see that, hey, you know what, these things, when you put your mind to it, you can actually get it done.
Yep, absolutely. So once you have that one project that you're going to work on for the rest of November or until the 21st when we end this particular challenge, go to the Google Plus community. And if you've already signed up for YesVember at thrive5live.com/yes, you will know where the Google Plus community is. There's links to it in your emails. If you haven't signed up yet, go sign up and you'll get access to that group. But that's the place where the magic happens. So you're doing the work, but like Sandy said, it's so important to have accountability and people to give you feedback on what you're working on and to help you quickly make some shifts so that you can finish it and get it all out the door by the 21st or by the end of November. So head over to the Google Plus community and tell us what you're going to be working on. I know there's like 15 or 20 people in there who've already said, here's what I'm working on. They've already chosen their focus project. So if you haven't chosen your project yet, do this exercise, this worksheet, and then head on over to the community and let us know what it is and how we can support you for the next few weeks.
Awesome. So we've got some people who've commented on the video. So Alea Williams, I think you're still watching. Kelly's here. We've got Charlene. Stacey Harris is asking, am I the only one using YesVember to finish something I've been working on for the last couple of months, using YesVember as a deadline? No, you're actually not alone, Stacey. I had my service page revamp kind of on the back burner for a while, and so I've been working on it on and off, but like you, I'm using this as my deadline. So if anyone else has anything they want to comment on, feel free right below the video to comment in the little chat box, and we'd love to hear from you, what you're working on, and so on.
So just as a kind of a recap, and this is a really short kickoff party, but we just wanted to remind you that you should have received a worksheet by now to help you pick your focus project. If you haven't picked your focus project, go through that and select one. And you'll be getting emails from us about once a week, a little bit more frequently than once a week, but not twice a week. Let's put it that way. So you'll be getting emails from us throughout the challenge just to kind of keep you on track, check in with where you're at, and see and direct you back to the community so you can share information and ask for feedback from those people. So it's really easy. If you haven't already signed up, it's just thrive5live.com/yes. That's the easiest way to do it. Get in there, introduce yourself, and at the end, we will have a wrap-up party, and we will kind of celebrate everyone's successes, and it's a great way to promote what you're working on. So if you are launching a podcast, it's a great way to say, here's my podcast, and to get an audience for that. If you're launching a series or whatever it is that you're working on, it's a great way to get recognition for that in an audience that's a little bit larger. So check back in with us for the wrap-up party on the 21st, and we're also going to be giving away 3 one-month memberships to ThriveHive. And ThriveHive is that community Sandy was talking about earlier. It's a community for women entrepreneurs where we come together to grow our businesses, and it's a paid community, so you'd be getting a free month membership to that community if you are one of our illustrious winners. So, Sandy, am I forgetting anything here before we wrap up?
Well, just one last thing. I mean, we are kicking off today, so it's not too late to invite a fellow entrepreneur if you think they could benefit from this community and you see them working on something and having those false starts. Bring them along for the ride. The more the merrier. It helps with the motivation and, getting things done when you're around people who have, the similar goal in mind to get through YesVember.
Thanks for joining us, you guys, and we will see you inside the Google Plus community soon.
Bye, everyone.